I've set up the Grace Chapel in a way that helps us see the Holy Land. Imagine that we're looking at the Holy Land from the north, and the round table way at the end of the room near the altar is the Dead Sea. Then the rectangular tables coming up towards us, that's the Jordan River. And then the middle round table is the Sea of Galilee. And then there's another part of the Jordan River, much smaller, coming up to what was called Lake Hula. It is now drained. It was drained in the 1950s, but there was a lake that received incredible amounts of rain, about 40 inches of rain. And to understand the geography of the Holy Land, it's helpful to recognize the different longitudinal areas, so the north-south areas of the Promised Land. So coming over here, imagine way on this side of the room is the Mediterranean. On the right side of the room is the Mediterranean Sea. Right next to the Mediterranean Sea is the coastal plains. Then where that first set of tables is the Central Highlands. These are the mountains of Judah and Ephraim and Manasseh. Don't think Rocky Mountains, think more in terms of the Appalachian Mountains. The brown table that goes crosswise, that's Mount Carmel, where Elijah and the prophets of Baal took place. That is right at the end of the Central Mountain Range. And between that brown table and the table right in front of us is an empty space. That's the Jezreel Valley. And then that table closest to us is the first range of the mountains in Galilee. Galilee had mountains that went east-west rather than north-south, with river valleys going east and west. And the farther north you go in Galilee, the mountains get about 1,000 feet higher. It's called Upper Galilee. So if you're sitting at the edge of the Sea of Galilee and you look to the north, you see one ridge of mountains, that's Lower Galilee, and then you can see the next ridge 1,000 feet higher, Upper Galilee. We move over just a little bit, and this space between the sets of tables, this pictures the wilderness. You see, the moisture from the Mediterranean Sea comes up the mountains, the Central Mountain Ridge, where Jerusalem is, where Samaria is, where Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal are. It comes up that Central Mountain Ridge, and the rains fall on the Mediterranean side of the mountain. And then on the other side of the mountain, that's a very dry area. This is called the wilderness. This is where David fled from Saul. This is where Jesus was tempted by Satan out in the wilderness between the Central Mountain Ridge and the Jordan River. And then here again is, it's called the Rift Valley on the diagram that I'll be sending out. The Rift Valley is actually a long valley that goes all the way down into Africa, all the way down to the Lake Malawi. And in this Rift Valley, the Sea of Galilee is 600 feet below sea level, and the Dead Sea is 1,300 feet below sea level. So you can imagine there is quite a change in elevation. And then over here, this table is the mountain ridge that is to the east of the Jordan River. And here again, as the breezes from the Mediterranean go up the mountain, the rains drop. And so there is an area over here that is especially good for grazing. In the Old Testament, Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh, they loved to herd cattle and sheep. And so they asked for this grazing land to be theirs. And about 20 miles to the East of the Jordan River is the desert where the rain stopped, and now there's hardly any rain. As you think from north to south, there is also a change in the rain. So up to the north, this table right in front of me, that pictures Mount Hermon, about 10,000 feet high. I have a pitcher full of water there, 40 inches of rain there, and also on the upper lands or upper ridges of Galilee. When we get to the area of Nazareth, it's about 35 inches of rain. And then we get farther south to Jerusalem, right about where those tables on the far side divide. We get about 25 inches of rain. And then we get all the way south, and south of the Central Mountain region is the Negev, where Beersheba is. There, the rain is about 10 to 12 inches. And then again, in the Dead Sea area, the rain is about 2 inches. So we have a wide variety of rainfall based on the topography, the geology, the geography of the Promised Land.